All right, let's try. Let's look at the composition without the dog.
Okay.
So where the dog? Well, one on one side, one on the other. Say when your brother should. Kind of straddle this spot.
I see.
Can I sit on the iron stool?
Yeah, really, if you're kind of like sitting this way a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Oh, no. See, he doesn't like that. That's true.
Wait, David, Ethan? David?
Ethan.
Ethan, okay.
All right, should we take off our masks? Yeah. It's okay.
File ends up.
Well, the other thing we could do is,
Yes.
because he'll sit,
Right. You call him.
well,
It's okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that just fell down.
Don't let me hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Angel, come up, baby. Run for the shadows, run for the shadows, run for the shadows in these golden years. I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna touch you in these golden years.
Okay, that's fine. All right. We'll start with the most important stuff, I guess. See
Okay.
how long we go for.
All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Should I look into the camera?
What's that?
Look into the camera there?
Whatever you feel.
Well, where am I supposed to look?
You're not supposed to look anywhere.
Oh.
Well, you can look.
Or should I look at you?
Yeah, you can look at me. I'll just be looking at you.
All right.
Here, I'll try and move this.
I'm Matthew W. McCumber, MD, PhD. So I like to be surrounded by history in my office, and I have a few documents and things here. So first over here, this is a letter signed by two senators, Lyman Trumbull and a guy named Pomerantz, to Abraham Lincoln requesting that a certain gentleman named Boustede get reinstated in a Chicago battalion. And it's very nice. It's actually signed by Abraham Lincoln on July 4th, 1864. So it's interesting that he's working on July 4th. I actually had a very enjoyable childhood. I played music. My father didn't want me to be a musician, so he arranged for me to play the oboe. But I ended up playing the oboe all the way through till freshman year in college. I was the oboist in the wind ensemble, so I was pretty good. I met Judith in part at a collegiate orchestra after graduating high school. She played violin. I have memories of doing a lot of academic stuff. I was captain of the chess team. I was on the math team.
I didn't know you were captain of the chess team.
I was captain of the chess
You were
team.
better then than now?
Most definitely. Yeah, we played in chess tournaments. We played other high schools. It was fun. And we did very well. I wasn't the best person on the team, but I was one of the best. So I also have here Neil Armstrong, one of my heroes as a child. And
How old were you during the moon landing?
so I was born in 1962, so I would have been, but near the end, so I think I would have been 6.
You don't remember it though? Or
Oh, I remember it distinctly. It was the last time, it was the first time in my life that my parents let me stay up that late because it was late at night. We watched live the astronauts walking on the moon. That is like one of my earliest memories. I have, you see over here is my diploma from Princeton where I graduated from college. And so I have the signatures of a few of the famous graduates of Princeton, and James Madison is one. I mean, people say, a nice Jewish boy, and in New Jersey, is destined to be a doctor. And that was what it was in the 60s and early 70s. But I really did like it. I was always interested in it.
Why signatures?
There's something physical about it because the person actually had to take time to write their name on the document, and all of these have been, have been felt to be, authentic by experts, and so it's fun. So you actually have this connection to history, a physical connection. This is a book of a couple of things. And this one is this is George Patton, the general, when he was at West Point, and this is him later when he was general in the U.S. Army. And this is actually a letter from him to his father while he was at West Point, and it's signed by George Patton, 1906. And I like this one because it's a son writing to his parents, and I would think about my sons like David and Ethan and Abigail writing to me when they were in college, and I bought this when they were both in college.
You can speak like I'm here.
Yeah, he's right here.
I am.
Yeah, all right. Well, I can. Yeah, Ethan is filming, and so for instance, the boys and Abigail studied French. So this mentions Patton writes, "Dear Papa, don't get too worried about my French. I know I'm pretty low just now, but still have time to make it up." So I thought that was kind of fun. Oh, here this one's particularly fun. This I just got on eBay, but I think was it you, Ethan, who brought this to school?
I think I brought something for show and tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the only one you let me bring to school.
Right. This is a TV guide from the week that the first man, Neil Armstrong, walked on the moon in 1969. So that's pretty fun. And I always like science. So, I was very interested in it.
Why science? None of your family does science.
Well, that's a good question. My father's a musician, and it's, there's something about music and math and science. They kind of tie together. My father didn't have very good opportunities to get advanced education. They were pretty stressed economically when he was growing up. It was, it was around the time of the Depression, and he ended up leaving high school and went on the road as a musician. But he was very, very good at it, and he's still performing. He's 93, and so I guess we all got some talent for science and math, maybe from my father's side.
All right, so we'll just start by you just describe yourself.
Okay, so I'm very tall.
No, you're not.
I know. I'm under 5 feet. I grew up with books. We always had bookshelves, and we even had a room we called the library. It had these barrister bookshelves. So when we moved into this house, there were no bookshelves, and we were like, don't people read? I guess people read on Kindles now. But anyway, I like my books. They're like my friends, and they're organized by category, which is also chapters in our lives. I'm very physical too. I like to hug and cuddle, which makes me kind of an odd man out in this cold family. I don't know why I saved the travel books, because they're outdated already, and nobody's traveling now. But they're reminders of the places we went. This is sort of the Judaica. I've tried studying Hebrew many times in my life. I had no Jewish education, a fact for which my mother apologized on her deathbed. But no worries, because I'm now in this awesome Sunday Hebrew class. It's one of my favorite classes ever. And I'm actually reading Hebrew, which is amazing. And then I love work. And I finally, after 3 decades, have a job that I am passionate about and love. We always joke about this is my sister. I have one sister. We joke that my mom, who was very, very short, was taking the picture, and that's why we had to bend down. I loved the pool. My father once defended me at the pool. It's kind of a horrible story now that some 40, 50 years later, but there was a little boy named Seth who was bullying me, and that's why I cannot stand the name Seth. He kept going over to Seth's mother and say, "Could you mind your little boy?" And she was gabbing and smoking and ignoring him, and so he went over and poured a bucket of water on her lap, and that got her attention. When I think of what?
You're looking this way.
Oh,
Look at me, or
where do
look
I
at me.
look? I look at you. Okay. Okay, of course, you know, y'all are my pride and joy. And so I love, you know, I get love picture frames that come in threes. Like I said, I've inherited a lot of pictures from my mom, who loved you dearly. So I love this one. This is like the twins crying and Abby holding her ears. You know, family is super important to me, but I have such a small family. It's kind of jealous of people who have all these, you know, cousins. And my mother is very, even over the phone, we'd say, you know, "Give me a hug." "Oh, not so tight." We'd joke. We liked hugging. And I love my friends who love to hug. This is my mother's family. My grandmother was born in 1900, and she died in 1995, so you can imagine what she saw in her lifetime. This is my mom, who I think was totally adorable, but also I think she was very beautiful. And her older sister, Mala, my mom's name was Marcia. And that was Martin, her father, who was a bit of a mystery because he left my grandmother when I was like not even in kindergarten, and we weren't all really allowed to talk to him or anything. It's very odd. These are my public health things. These are my aspirations. You know, universal health care, equal rights, human rights. That's really who I am, and I'm kind of a company gal. I don't mind being a cog in the wheel, you know. I don't aspire to be like, you know, Surgeon General or anything like that, but just to be doing good. First, we should explain that this is not usually here. This is your studio for the past quarter. Everything has meaning. This is from Biot, which is a glass making artisan place in the south of France, and I bought this back from my mother, and then I took it back after she died. Actually, I took it back while she was dying, and apparently she like woke up from one of her slumbers and said, "Where is my vase?" And so I had to bring it back from Chicago and put it back in her house. I felt really bad. All right, now we're in the kitchen. Here's Abby. She doesn't want to be filmed. Kitchen is where we spend most of the time, right?
Yeah.
And what's been really nice about the pandemic is we've been actually sitting down for dinner every night, whatever combination we're in. It's been the four of us lately, right?
So I was an amateur magician, and you know, I was working in the laboratory. People didn't. I really wasn't. You know, I had my group of friends. There were about 8 to 10 of us that were all very close. But then beyond that, you know, people didn't really know me that well, and we had this talent show, and so somehow I ended up doing a magic act. I did four tricks, and it turned out I ended up being the finale of the show, and it turned out really well, and people were like, "Who is this guy? This guy's hysterical."
What tricks did you do?
So and we had the MC was kind of drunk, and he would pick on me, and I would pick on him back, and it turned out to be really funny. I can't remember his name.
I've been drinking too much during this pandemic. It started as like making a different cocktail for every special meal, like a Negroni with an Italian meal or a Margarita with a Mexican, but it sort of got out of hand. So
One of my friends, we used to kid that, I always did the small tricks because I did the close-up magic and ended up as an eye surgeon, and he did the big tricks, and he ended up as a OBGYN.
What are you drinking?
I'm inventing something.
What are you inventing?
A different kind of Negroni. It is a lot of my stuff. I'm more sentimental than I guess anyone in the house, and just I'm here more. And of course, but this is all Daddy's, right? The altar to our other dog, Milo. Sorry, Wally. Everyone's so sad. And this was a little thing that Abby made that actually looks like him. Let's go to Daddy's office. Now, he should tell you about his.
Well, what do you have to say about
Well, this is his space, which is good. He deserves an extra room.
Because you have the rest of the house.
I have pretty much the rest of the house. Yep. Little Ungapachka, but that's okay. I'll let him tell you about.
What do you think of his signatures?
Are
they impressive?
I think it's a sweet, nice, calm, mild hobby. It's a good one.
One of my documents here is a letter from Houdini on his letterhead to his attorney, who happened to be in Chicago, so it has several connections. This program is from his last tour before Houdini died. And I can show you a trick if you like. Here, watch this. See, nickel, right?
Yeah.
Here.
Just put it in your mouth?
No. Here, watch. Isn't that amazing?
No.
It's not amazing that it
It's
stays
just sticking
there?
to your forehead.
Here.
It's just a piece of...
Really? Here, you try it.
try it? Oh. That's funny.
Right.
You set me up.
Yeah. I made this one.
You made that one?
Yeah.
You were funny.
I glued it on there, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Nicotine, but there's no E. Zion.
How about
Ionization.
Oh, there's no Z. What's the best thing about Dad?
Dad?
Yes.
He's kind and stable and calm and not an asshole.
What's the worst thing about Dad?
I plead the fifth.
Why?
Because I don't want to, because everyone has their faults and I'm not gonna.
I feel like you make it pretty clear what the worst part about Dad is.
I do?
Yeah.
What's that?
He's not very
Affectionate?
that, or he's very quiet when he's flustered about things.
He does shut down. He's not very communicative. He's like, everything's fine.
Yeah. That's not the worst thing.
He's pretty perfect.
Oh, this trick is my pride and joy.
Which one's that?
This one.
What? Why? Can you explain?
No, this is a joke, Ethan. See, pride and joy. There used to be an illusion called the zigzag illusion, where a woman would go in a box, and then
Has to be a woman?
No, it could be a man, but they would pull the center of the person's body out. So if this still works, I mean, this is, whatever, 40 years old. Let's see if it still works. Yeah, look at that. Whoa. Fascinating, huh? You need to see what Mom has here?
What's that?
You remember Meepo?
Meepo, is that what it was called?
You remember?
I remember you playing with it. Well, what would you do with it?
I don't remember. What
You
did I
would, you would do a little dance with
Oh,
it.
yeah, right. How would I do that?
You would do the.
I don't remember. You're right. I would do a little dance with it, and that's funny.
This is kind of the wedding. This is like the family theme. So this is my family. My mom when she was 7, my parents getting married, my father's parents back in the day, Daddy and I at a bat mitzvah. This is Milo's bed. I don't know. We have a nice little routine going. I wait, we go to bed pretty early because Daddy gets up so early. I like to do the puzzle because that drops at 9 p.m. Central, the New York Times puzzle. And Dad reads or does his solitaire. Cacti.
That's it? No.
No, that's not the panagram, but that's a word. Yep, I guess all these photos are mine, but I'm the one who saves them and buys, the frames and such.
Wait, what you got there? What is that?
My Rolodex.
We'll bring it in here.
This is me when I met your mother. See, Shady Brook Swim Club t-shirt. I was in charge of the men's locker room. I was 17 years old. This is one of my favorite pictures of your mother. She had taken a picture, she had set her camera on a timer, and then she forgot what she did, and then the picture went off, and then she remembered she had set her camera on a timer. It was just serendipitous.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of fun. She's like thinking about, what did I do? And actually what she did was set her camera on a timer. This is another one of my oldest pictures of her with her camera. See, she was a photographer too. Maybe that's where you get it. This was when she was like 16 or 17 in front of her house. She had long hair. It was very pretty. I mean, it just made sense because here we just had such a history together in New Jersey, and I was now in Baltimore, and I was working so hard. I really didn't meet people easily. And so, yeah, it just seemed very easy.
There was this time I remember vividly. We were in his house in Baltimore, and I think, was I visiting from California? I think so. And I was just saying, so what are you going to do next? And he's like, well, then I'll finish med school, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do that. And then I think he said, and then we could get married. And that was like thrilling, but it was sort of like he was planning his life. And that was very exciting. And then my father died, and it was kind of in some ways like, well, why wait to start having the nice life that my parents had?
I guess I was in college, and my grandmother, who helped raise us, she was a smoker, and she ended up really deteriorating fast. She went into the hospital, and this was early 80s, and I'll never forget. I knew I wasn't in medical school yet. I don't think it was 80. I started in 84. I think it was before then. But I knew enough about science and things to understand what was going on. And she ended up getting congestive heart failure, and then she had pulmonary failure and was on a ventilator, and then she had renal failure, and she was in the intensive care unit, and it was clear that she was miserable, and was never going to come off all these machines. And I remember talking with the doctor, and I said, why don't we just let her go? I mean, come on. And he was like, we don't do that. At the time, we don't do that.
My grandmother was 95. My grandfather, I don't know how old he was, but those are sort of natural. My father's was tragic because he was so young. He was my age.
Yeah.
Be like me.
But your mom's was sad.
My mom's was very sad. Well, every death is a tragedy, but you're right. It wasn't. It was sort of the natural order of things. And it's not to say that, but see, you have to be careful here because people die at all different ages, and to say like everyone should, how do I put this? Everyone should, like live to 85 or something, and then it's like, first of all, that lessens this. It sort of lessens the meaning and the significance of the death of even an old person. You can be sad, and I hate when people say, "Oh, well, that was a good life." She lived a long life. It's like, it makes me even sadder because I have had so much more time with her. But on the other hand, like to say when people die at a young age, to say, "Oh, that's just tragic. That's horrible," it's also an extreme way of looking at things because that was his life.
But I have to say I've become I've been sensitized to it, to illness and sickness. When I was an intern taking care of medical patients, I took care of a number of people who died, and I watched them die.
No, it's different with Dad. He's not dependent on me. He's very, I don't feel like, oh, he depends on me for everything at all. He's very independent. I just wish he had a couple more friends who were as faithful to him as he can be to them.
Well, I just have training in it. I have a lot of experience with it, and the trajectory of things better when you go through medical school and medical training. So, yeah, it's logical.
Like 90% of his life is work, right? So he refers to all of his colleagues as friends. This is my friend, and it's sort of like, I've never heard that name before. And you realize it's, the ophthalmologist from Houston or this guy or whatever, which is great. But I wish he had friends, and he does from college for sure. But, you need someone who's completely out of your field and completely other.
Console with anyone.
Confide?
Confide.
Yeah. He doesn't confide in anyone else.
It's a great day. Last century. Talking the last century these guys were born.
Here we, Daddy's talking.
And now we have a cake from Bittersweet. We will light the candles. I shall light them.
We'll wait for Abby.
We need Abigail. Where is that girl? I like her creamer. Oh, wow, look at this.
Happy birthday
Wow.
to you.
Happy
birthday, dear Judith. Happy birthday to you. Did you get it this time?
Yeah, I got it this time.
Wait, so that's part of the video that's gonna be staged.
That's okay, but the audio's gonna be different, obviously, right? It's gonna be like music
How
and
old
shit.
are you now? How old are you now?
Do you think, from what I filmed of you, do you think I've gotten an acceptable portrait of you?
We covered a lot. I think people can get an impression of what it's like to be Ethan's father and the father of the Macomber Weinstein family, and what I enjoy doing in life.
I never really talked to my... What's that? Oh, don't touch the mic. Well, I never really talked... I'm going to cry.
to my mom about it. So you should ask me a lot of things that you want to know before it's too late. And then, you know, sometimes you think, well, maybe, you know, it's okay that there's mysteries. So.
No. Milo, come here. Milo, come here. So you want it to be well balanced. And yet you don't want to show people on their bad side. You want to tend to show people on their good side, I would think.
Even if what if a parent was really bad?
Well, then you somehow, if the parent was really bad, then yeah, you must somehow get at that, yeah, either directly or indirectly.
You know, I told that to the rabbi, the hospice rabbi. I said, you know, there's so much I don't know about my mom. She's still somewhat of a mystery to me. And he just sort of smiled, and I thought he was going to say something really pat or quote, you know, the Talmud. But instead he just smiled and said, isn't that beautiful? So I've decided that, you know, you don't have to know everything about even the ones you love. Maybe you shouldn't.